It's now 7 o'clock. We're going to start our meeting. In the absence of the mayor, the first order of business will be a motion from the council to choose a chairperson to preside this meeting.
I'd like to nominate our former mayor, John Evans, if you'll accept.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mayor Evans. That's fine.
You want to sit in the big chair?
First order of business on the agenda is approving the minutes of 3 prior meetings, June 3rd, June 4th, and June 15th. Let's take them as a group. Is there a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I have one edit, if it's okay. It says on the June 15th that the annexation passed by the city council on June 5th, but it was June 4th, right? Maybe it doesn't make a big difference, but just to have it. The June 15th, the one that's dated June 15th. If you go to the mayor's report, like 1, 2, 3, 4 bullets down, the annexation ordinance passed by the city council on June 5th has been delivered to Louisville Metro government for their consideration.
And that's.
I think that
June
was
4th.
June 4th, or maybe it was June 15th, past the council.
Any other corrections or additions? If not, ask for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, and those minutes have been approved. Next, we have an opening for comments from citizens. Starting off, I understand that
Yes, so Dr. David Wicks approached me and just asked me to bring this to city council. He's an environmental scientist and used to work at U of L. He's retired. And it sounds like there's been an uptick in ticks and deer ticks especially. And he said the reason for that is that we have a deer problem in Prospect. And I'm sure this has been discussed a lot of times, a lot of different ways. But I told him I'd bring it up and we can talk to the mayor and he can have a meeting with the mayor about it specifically. But he wanted me to bring it up at this meeting, so.
consider it brought up. Anything else? Yes, sir. John Embry.
I didn't sign up, but I just want to note the passing.
If you can't,
I can't speak, okay. Can I stand here then? I just want to note the passing of Justice Martin Johnstone, who had served virtually every elected judicial
What about
office.
Martin?
Huh?
He passed away.
Yeah, he died. He passed a few days ago, and he was my first exposure to him personally was on the Ethics Commission. He was on the Ethics Commission when I was brought into it, and he stayed there for
Wasn't he on
several
the
years.
Kentucky Supreme Court?
Yes, he was Chief Justice. I mean, he was a Supreme Court, Court of Appeals, district judge, elected as district judge in Jefferson County, a circuit judge. He held virtually every.
Do you have any details about the so-called arrangements?
They are saying there will be a memorial service to be announced at a future date. But he was a great guy, and he was a pleasure to work with. I was very honored to know him and work with him for several years on the Ethics Commission.
Thank you. He also swore us in on the city council every January for years. and years.
Yeah, I think he swore me in too, somewhere along the line.
Exactly. Thank you.
Next, any other comments from citizens? And next on the agenda, we have a so-called special guest. Scott Reed, I don't know what's so special, but the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Make me feel at home. Thank you. Um, Thanks everybody for having me. It's been a while. I like to come. I'm Scott Reed, Metro Councilman, District 16. This is Jared Towns. He is our District 16 legislative assistant. We all think that our legislative assistants are the best. I think he is the best.
Would you say again his name?
Jared Towns.
Thank you.
Yes. Jared has worked with me. Prior to that, it was Debbie Carroll, and she was great. She was fantastic, but then she went and retired. So Jared came from District 22, right? So Robin Ingalls District. I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that are going on in Louisville Metro. We just passed our budget. As you know, Metro government has to approve the budget. We have to, it's a long process, just like yours. It has to be a balanced budget. And there were some great things that came out of it for this district. Number one, I don't know how many people here frequent the Hayes Kennedy Park, but that pavilion was built back in the 1950s. And we have in this budget over $600,000 to completely gut it and completely rebuild it. So that is going to be really nice. I'm really excited about that. I talked to Jason Canuel, who is the Assistant Parks Director, over the weekend. They're going out for bids on it soon. And with any luck, they'll start constructing this fall. So that's very exciting to me. And it's long overdue. Wolf Pen Branch is going to be repaved. It's on the paving list. There's over $30 million in the city budget for paving, which is, when I came on council back in 2017, the budget was $5 million. I will give this mayor a lot of credit that he has put some emphasis on deferred maintenance of city buildings, which was never being invested in, and roads and sidewalks. So this isn't sexy stuff, but it's necessary stuff. And I think that our roads have really improved. There's a lot of work to be done, but I think we're getting there. In the last council meeting, I sponsored an ordinance that revised the illegal signs ordinance. So heretofore, placing signs in public right-of-ways has been a criminal offense. Nobody's enforced it because LMPD actually had to catch somebody in the act of placing a sign, but it's been illegal since merger. Well, now it's a civil offense, and you've been seeing signs all over District 16, probably not as much in Prospect, because you probably enforce your own sign ordinance, but the city of Louisville, if you drive down Westport Road or 22 or 42, these signs are everywhere, and they are an expense to the city to have to pull up. They obstruct the rights of ways for motorists. It's dangerous. So we've increased the fines. We've now made it a civil offense. Before we start enforcing, which won't be until probably December of this year, there's going to be a very robust public relations campaign educating people, because I think people legitimately believe that placing signs in public right-of-ways is legal when it's not. Never has been. So there's going to be a public relations campaign that the mayor's team, that I've worked very strongly with Deputy Mayor Nicole George on this. And I will give credit to Mayor Dan Taffel of Rolling Fields. He was the one that brought this to my attention. The League of Cities got involved, supported this, so I'm very excited. And just to let you know, politicians are not exempt in this. So, but I will say that I will bet none of you in this room place signs in public right-of-ways. You do it the right way. You go to people and you ask me to place a sign here. So, so politicians are not exempt. We're not exempting anyone. So, and again, this isn't a matter of just trying to, look, we're trying to increase fines. We want to fine businesses. It's gotten out of control, and it's all over the city. So, another thing that I'm proud of, I work with the state auditor. We are auditing, or the state is auditing MSD. They wanted to get the JCPS audit done first. I proposed an ordinance after the latest increases to cap MSD increases to cost of living, CPI plus 1%. The way that it works now is by ordinance, they can increase every year 6.9% before it comes to the Metro Council. And they've been doing it. Now, they didn't do it this time because I think they know that they're under the microscope. But for several years, it's been an annual 6.9% increase. So this modification to the ordinance would cap it at cost per living plus 1%. Now, Tony Parrott, who is the MSD director, is coming in to talk to the Government Accountability and Oversight Committee. The first week in August? Yeah. We've been on break, but first week in August, I'm on this committee and we're going to ask him a lot of very good questions. But that ordinance has been introduced and we're going to talk about that. So basically what that means is that if he wants to come back with something more than that, it needs a council vote. And I don't mind being put on the spot for the vote, because if it really is necessary, then they ought to be able to make their case to us and ask, and prove why it's necessary. So excited about that. I wanted to congratulate you on your Prospect City Center. I think that is very exciting. It's very forward thinking. And I know I used to live in Carmel, Indiana, and I did for 10 years. And I know that you've been working with the mayor, on the design. I know that you've worked with some of the people that helped with the Norton Commons design. I think that that's a great use of land that was going to be developed some way eventually. So why not make it mixed use? Why not be thinking in a forward way? So I just want you to know that for whatever little we did to help with the annexation of the area, I was proud to do it because I think this is a great thing. Do you remember the whole episode with middle housing from a couple of years ago?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's come back. So the planning and design has introduced their recommendations. They're not calling it middle housing anymore. They're calling it neighborhood housing. This came out a couple of weeks ago, and I will be the first to tell you that I've not totally fleshed it out yet. It looks better than what it was because they're trying to get some of the various housing types into areas that are close to highways, that are within the city limits, within infills. Before, they were wanting to change the land development code that would allow townhomes. Now, you guys have them in Prospect, but for a suburban city like where I live, Greenspring, it would not have been good. Didn't have the parking, didn't have the roads, et cetera. This seems to look better based on what I've just skimmed over.
Actually, if you look at the map, it is interesting because the words sound good. It's when you look at the map and start, for example, the old folks here on Carslaw and Beach Avenue, that could be turned into it.
Mhm.
And so I think there are still steps to go before it's.
This is their first
Exactly.
first entree. It's better than what we had. I will say that, but it still has to be fleshed out in the planning and zoning committee. Are we through with public comment yet, or we gotten into that yet?
I think that finished June.
Okay. So there's a lot still that needs to be done, but I will, from what I can gather, it's better than what it was. But there's a lot of work still to be done on it. Those are the highlights of what I had. I know you've got a full agenda. Would welcome you to ask me any questions while I'm here.
Actually, I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
Talking about the sign thing. We do have sign ordinances here. And for the sake of argument, if we picked up a sign, how does that interface with the downtown fine? In other words, I don't think we have a fine attached to ours, do we?
Oh, I don't think it would. I think that your
Okay.
ordinances supersede ours in that regard.
Okay. Oh,
Now, you can piggyback on our ordinance if you'd like,
and then we could impose a fine.
and you can impose a fine.
Okay. Maybe we should do that.
What is the fine?
It's $50. The repeat offenders, $200 up to $500. So, I was driving on, I think it was Westport Road the other day, and there's this one company called Junkie Lunky or something like that, and those signs are everywhere. So I thought, I'm just going to call this guy. So I picked the phone up and called him, and I said, in a little while, these are going to be illegal. And he said that his competition's doing that to him. I said, I don't believe that. So I didn't tell him that, but.
Well, as I drove over here tonight, coming out of Sutherland, there's one right there. So
Right.
clearly illegal in Prospect
Right.
now.
So, but if you'd like for me to forward you the ordinance, I'll send it to you, Sandra, if you want to see it.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay, I'll forward it to you.
That would be
Any other questions?
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you. And again, I love Prospect. This is a great area. I live close here. I have so many friends that live here. Oh, one other thing, the $40,000 for your boardwalk, we got that approved. So,
thank you.
and happy to do that. So, and Jared had a big part in that.
Thank you, Jared.
I'd like to take all the credit, but I can't, so. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott.
All right, on the agenda, the next item is financial reports. Mr. Carter, do you have anything to tell us?
I'm going to give you a summary of the end of the fiscal year, June 30, and where we stand. Cash on hand in June 30 was $3.1 million in investments and roughly $110,000 in our checking account for a total of $3.3 million. Our restricted road aid fund now stands at $66,000 and change. The capital project fund has a balance of $311,000, and again, this is year end of fiscal '26. Wanted to highlight a couple of things, being that that's the end of the year. Year over year, cash on hand, we ended approximately $369,000 less than we did beginning of the year, and that's primarily due to funds expended through the capital project fund. That being said, the city still has $2.1 million in unappropriated and unrestricted funds. If you looked at our reports, the general fund revenue showed that we ended about 3% less than what we had budgeted. That shows to be a decrease in insurance premium receipts. When I looked over figures, though, I noticed that the way those funds come in, they're delayed by approximately 30 days from the end of the quarter. And once we move from a cash basis to an accrual basis accounting that's reflected on the audit, that usually pans out to what we budgeted. So that's what I would expect this year as well. The general fund expenditures were 8% under budget this year. The city's investments earned approximately $150,000 this year. And just looking at trends, Greenscape's costs are spiking at the moment due to fuel surcharges. And that's about all I have, unless you have some questions.
Well, that's a report on what the money that we have. Do we have any liabilities that offset any of that? Worth mentioning?
Well, not anything new other than, our regular expenses, and we've allocated to the capital project fund. So Rumpke continues to be the biggest pull on the budget.
Keep going up, don't they?
Well, we don't have to renegotiate that till 2028. Now, Greenscapes does come up for renewal next summer in August, but that'll be on next year's budget.
Any questions?
Will you do RFP on the landscaping?
Absolutely. That increased to 50,000 this year from 40,000, but they're way above that.
That was nice on the interest income.
Yes,
We did good.
we did do good.
Any other questions? Commission and board reports. First is Forestation Board. Marty, are you here for that?
Yes, I am. Good evening. I'm Marty Hedgepeth, and I'm the newest Forestation Board member, so please don't ask any hard questions. At the last board meeting, we discussed the participation of the board at the 4th of July celebration. We had 5 board members attend and work a booth for about 2 hours, number of people asking questions and picking up information about trees. Our new arborist, Joseph Mann, has started to visit neighborhoods, primarily with Linda Knox, getting a handle on the different topography and the different aspects of each neighborhood, and seeing starting to look at trees that might be problematic and need some help. we did receive some information from MSD on a replanting program that goes back to when MSD did all of the work through Prospect. They planted trees, and Lee Tushy and Ron, Linda consulted with them because they were most familiar with the older project. And this project from MSD to replant trees, they're not free. And so with that in mind, they needed to go in some of the same areas where the trees have not done well. And in some places, when the floods hit, the trees were washed away by the debris going down Harrods Creek, or simply just flooded out. So we decided that money would be better spent not in the MSD program. And lastly, the Lavin family who lives at the entrance of Fox Harbor have offered to provide 2 trees for the entry of Fox Harbor. And so there's been meetings with Linda, Ron, the mayor, and Corey Rudolph of Greenscapes. And they are going to continue talking about what type of tree, how they fit into the overall landscape plan, but very nice offer and gift coming up. And that's all, unless you have any questions.
Thanks for serving on the
Thank you.
Thanks, Marty. Other reports, Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. Carolyn Emery.
The Prospect Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee met on July 13th here in the library. Carolyn Embry chaired. The first item of business was to ask John Carter to introduce the proposed leash ordinance and explain that to us. And while we know it applies to the whole city, we thought it was important enough in the context of our parks that we wanted to weigh in on that. So we voted unanimously to recommend the ordinance for your consideration and passage when it comes up tonight. Under parks updates, there are a number of issues that we've had in the parks over the past month or two that deal with minor vandalism and just non-compliance with park rules. So we discussed ways to remedy those issues. Some of the issue results from the lock on the gate to Harrods Creek Park there on Montero being broken. So Ron is looking into replacing that lock, perhaps with a different kind of lock that would be more permanent and sustainable. And he'll also post a sign at the front of the park, at the front of that entrance, stating that the park will be closed at dark or dusk. In Putney Pond, there have been some incidences of trail bikes and other bikes along the boardwalk and walking paths. And so Ron is going to post a sign at every entrance to the park saying that bikes are prohibited on the trails. He'll also add a trail cam to identify offending parties. We've also had some indication or some observation that there have been golf carts on the grass in Little Hunting Creek Park. And this is doing the grass no favors. So Ron will post a sign at the entrance to the park on Fox Harbor saying no golf carts allowed on the grass. And then I think maybe the sign will go on to say, you may park here, you may park your golf carts here. And then the fence bordering Harrods Creek Park on Montero has sustained some damage from a fallen tree, and that will be replaced as well. Under Parks Programs, our next concert will be the Ron Jones Jazz Quartet. That's this Sunday, July 26th, beginning at 7 o'clock. And the Celtic Pig Food Truck will begin service at 6:30. So this will be a delightful concert, some great music, a wonderful chance just to visit with your neighbors and maybe meet new friends and grab some food from the food truck, which is always kind of fun. So we invite everybody to attend and hope you will do that. Under Scout Report, Lynn Granger reported that bronze plaques identifying the Eagle Scout troop and year will be added to each park's kiosk in recognition of the Scout project to build and erect those kiosks. And then Lynn and David are scheduled to replace some of the boards in the boardwalk near the entrance to the park from Fox Harbor using boards left over from past projects. Under student recruitment for the 2026-27 school year, Tina reported that our student member, Sophia Campo, has agreed to remain on the committee for that coming year. And then Tina will also be sending out applications to the nearby schools to try and recruit another student to be on the Parks Committee as well. And that concluded our business. The next meeting is Monday, August 10th at 5 o'clock in City Hall. Any questions?
Thank you,
All right.
Carolyn.
Thank you, Mayor.
Other reports, there's one more, that's the League of Cities, Jefferson County League of Cities, I believe that's Sandra.
We did not, we go quiet in the summer. We did not have a meeting. One of the topics that has been talked about throughout is the change from the middle housing to neighborhood housing, because potentially it does affect a fair number of small cities. I sent that report and the map to all of the mayors of this, and I'll be glad to send it to you too. You might want to take a look at it. It isn't helpful, particularly for a prospect, in the sense that there are no words that are attached to it. You have to look at a faint blue color to realize, for example, that it picks up Carslaw and Beach. But you probably will hear more about it, and so I'll be glad to send you the report with the map.
All right. Police report.
All right. I know I generally try to say as little as possible, but we actually had a couple of things that were worthy of making note of this month. Most importantly, we had an officer that was assaulted while making an arrest. We had a gentleman that showed up to Kroger here on July 8th, and he assaulted the loss prevention guy. And all he did was ask him to leave the deli area because he'd been hanging around the Kroger for several days, for hours at a time, and not buying anything. So the manager asked their loss prevention guy to tell him he's trespassed and he needed to leave. So the guy punched the Kroger employee in the face and then walked out of Kroger's. Officer Hagan and Cirillo responded to that. They knew who the guy was because we've been having increasing issues with him over the last month and a half or so. And so they went looking for him. Well, later that evening, Sergeant Cirillo found him walking in Bridgepoint on Old Creek, and he got out of his vehicle and attempted to talk to him, to ask him about what happened. And the guy turned around and punched him in the face several times. And then when they were effecting the arrest, he bit our officer in the hand several times. And a resident just happened to be driving by and actually stopped and helped Sergeant Cirillo get the suspect under control until Officer Hagan and another Metro officer arrived on the scene. Jim was, Sergeant Cirillo was treated and released at Norton Brownsboro Hospital. And to make sure we got the Kroger charge placed on him while he was still in custody, so we didn't have to fight him a second time serving that warrant, I went ahead and took the next day to finish investigating the Kroger case, getting the video, and I took out an arrest warrant for him. And then Chuck Tilford went and served that on him while he was still in custody. And then to make matters even more interesting, since he's been in jail, he's picked up 3 more felony assaults by assaulting corrections officers and 2 misdemeanor assaults by assaulting 2 other fellow inmates. So he's currently still in jail, thank goodness. We had some vehicle break-ins with 6 unlocked vehicles that were entered on July 5th in the Sutherlands and Fox Harbor. We recovered all the property that was stolen from them, except for 1 passport that's still outstanding. The suspect vehicle was identified as a 2023 Nissan Rogue that was a Metro stolen, and Metro recovered that this week. So it was actually out and being used by these guys for quite some time. July 16th, we had a report of a contractor fraud that involved more than an $18,000 down payment. And then I found out that the guy was in jail. And when I looked him up, he had 3 fresh charges for similar incidents, bilking potential customers and taking their down payments and then not doing work. We also had about 7 probation violations that were coming back up. And it turns out one of them was a case of mine from 2021 where I charged him with 3 burglaries on Westover.
Oh,
So I took lead on that one since I'm already involved in it. And I took out another arrest warrant for him and went and served that while he was in custody. Then we had another contractor complaint for $13,000, more towards the civil side, borderline criminal. But I contacted the contractor on behalf of our resident. He's agreeing to refund the payment, and we'll keep an eye on him to make sure he actually gives the money back. And if he doesn't, then we'll look at trying some other avenue to get what we need to do with get going with that. And of course, we have the regular thing of ongoing fraud complaints where our residents continue to report losing money by manner of all flavor of internet scams. And fortunately, nobody's lost any big money like they have in the last few months, though. I think the biggest one's $200. So we're making progress.
can I ask, yesterday I was at an event and people that live here in Prospect said they, on 42, saw people like basically having races on 42 in their cars, like going around trying to get in front of them, Is that a big thing? Do you see that a lot on 42 where people are racing down 42 trying to get there first or whatever? And
I mean, we get the occasional report of that kind of thing, but the problem with that is those are things we can't do anything about unless they occur in our presence.
when you see it,
So
yeah.
when somebody calls the police and he's on the other side of Hunting Creek, by the time he gets down here, the guy's in Louisville.
Yeah.
So
If they get their license, it still doesn't matter because it's just that they
because
saw
then you
it.
don't know who the driver is. I mean, you can identify a car, but you can't necessarily identify a driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's dangerous because there's families and they're like cutting people off. And so I don't know. I had never seen it before. I don't know if it's a big issue or not. So yeah,
It happens.
it happens. Like, yeah.
All right, any questions?
Could I ask,
Hey, Marty, sure.
could you let people know the name of the people who, the contractors who committed fraud? So, or can you not do that?
Those things are public record, but you would have to try to get that on your, I couldn't just offer it. You would have to go through the proper channels to request that information, but it is possible to get it. You just have to navigate the system.
Anything else? Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Unfinished business, second reading of ordinance 664, series 2026, an ordinance establishing the budget for the capital project fund of the city of Prospect for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2026, ending June 30, 2027. This is a second reading of an ordinance that we previously had a first reading. And is there a motion? So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll go a roll call. Kristen?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Yes. What's your name? David. David. John Clark
Yes.
and Sandra.
Yes.
All right, and I vote yes. So it passed unanimously.
So it's City of Prospect Ordinance Number 664, Series 2026, an ordinance establishing the budget for the capital project fund for the City of Prospect for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026 and ending June 30th, 2027.
All right. Under new business, we have a first reading of ordinance 665, series 2026. It's entitled Animals of the Code of Ordinances, a modification of chapter 90, Animals of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Prospect. We need to get a first reading of that. Does someone have that to read?
So move.
Second.
Seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So that's been passed. And that completes our agenda.
Let me read the ordinance 665, series 2026, an ordinance relating to the amendment and modification of chapter 90, animals of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Prospect.
Can we ask, I mean, since it was a first reading, could we ask a few questions?
So it may be helpful for the council to know that part of this came up because we were getting complaints to the Committee of Parks and Rec about people having dogs running loose in the parks. And we've had people complain not just about them running loose, but the fact that they'll have their animals on leashes and these other dogs come over and start causing problems and stuff. So that was part of it. Then we looked, even though we have signs that have said you got to have the, on leash, we realized that it wasn't codified, and we asked the mayor if he would consider looking into that, and that's what came out.
Actually, I
That's what
totally
came out of this.
support dogs being under control. My concern is, from my personal experience, we had cats in there, and I think that somebody controlling a cat in their own yard is not going to be the easiest thing in the world.
I agree. But we didn't want to discriminate.
Oh, and I think discrimination is absolutely practical.
That came about just because of the way the original ordinance read. It included cats.
Well, but that says dogs running at large.
I believe it says dog and cats.
No,
So
chapter 90.17 is dogs running at large. So we might need to
Well,
amend
the
that
heading-
to
we-
animals
we
or
may
something
need
like
to
that.
amend-
That is correct. That is the title. You're right.
Yeah,
But the language that's not changed.
contained in it was cats and dogs. We may
what
need
are
to
we
amend-
going to do with these cats that are running at large in their own yards?
Well, if they stay in their own ours, there's nothing to do.
No, because we have to have a
don't.
fence, don't we?
True.
Cats don't tend to stay within fences.
I don't think they're the problems that the dogs have been for the other dogs.
Oh, no, I
attacking-
agree with you.
Attacking nicer
In fact,
dogs
my
under
whole
control.
focus is,
Yeah.
I think we should consider discrimination against dogs and not against cats. I do not have a cat, but I have it over the course of my years. And this is really pretty interesting in terms of, I think of some of the cats I've had and the impossibility of me complying with this.
Yeah, I just have a
Mayor,
question.
Carolyn had a question or a statement.
Do I need to get up there? Or can I do it?
No, you're fine.
Well, it was my understanding that the city of Louisville has a leash ordinance, and cats are prohibited from being let out into the yard at all. I mean, that applies, the leash ordinance applies to both dogs and cats under the city ordinance, I think.
So you can't let
Under
them,
Metro.
you must be able to take them outdoors, at least take them to the vet or something.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, of course, but, you can't just open your door and let your cat run loose, I think. Now, somebody can check on that, but, I'm pretty sure that Metro.
Yeah, we should look. That's a good idea.
From my experience, people who let their cats out running, they end up being coyote food.
But that's after they've eaten all the birds.
Yeah.
There's a white and yellow one visiting our yard. that,
Yeah, I know. I've got one all the time.
I'll call
too.
in a coyote or two, because it's trying to get our birds at their feeders. and-
Right.
John Sheehan.
Yeah, I didn't know the topic was gonna come up. My name is Linda Probus. I live over in the countryside neighborhood. And I'm glad you're talking about the leash law issue. Does countryside qualify if we're in, I mean, okay. Well, can I just add a footnote because I think it's important?
Sure.
It was about 6 weeks ago on a Sunday night, I was walking my dog. I have a yellow lab, and a family on my street has a pit bull. And there was a gathering, a social gathering of some sort. The dog came out and attacked my dog within like 5 seconds. And had there not been like a neighborhood gathering and men hearing me screaming, the pit bull would have absolutely, I'm sure, would have killed my dog because I couldn't have done anything. The follow-up on that, I filed a report with Oldham County Animal Control, and I think they did as much as they could. I was horrified to find out there has to be 3 substantiated episodes of aggressive behavior before the court system will do anything to deal with the dog. I live on a cul-de-sac. The family has 2 small children. They were only required to muzzle the dog if they bring it out. And that's it. So I'm just saying, I was in the wrong place at a wrong time, but it has changed my entire sense of safety. And I spoke with Sandra as I came in. I've been there for 20 years. And I never would have expected to be attacked by a pit bull. So I'm just saying whatever can be done to enforce any kind of leash law or public protection anywhere around the community is really very, very important.
Good.
So it's a good thing if we can make it work.
We don't-
Yeah. Well,
No further business, ought to consider a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Second.
Took you so long.
Did we?
All- Aye.